Hello everyone and welcome to the Action Figure-atorium. My name is Mark Major. I'm a real big toy collector here in Southeast Portland. I'm also a studio owner, and I like to cover all things industry news within the toy space, as it were. And so I thought it might be a good time to do a little bit of recap, a little bit of catch up, and sort of set out the playing field behind this Diamond Comics distribution bankruptcy / Diamond Select Toys bankruptcy, so that we all know exactly what we're talking about and what the dates are, and also a little bit of predictions as to what might happen. It's always fun to do some predictions. Plus, I'm also going to do a bit at the end of the video where I'm going to talk a bit about Hasbro and its future, and also to do a little bit of bragging on how I am at least 5 months ahead of the news cycle that people are just now covering. So I think this is going to be pretty cool, a lot of fun, and you guys are going to get a lot out of this. Everybody come together, strap on the leather, and hold on tight. So before we begin, I think we should just do a little palette cleanse, as I got another new dragon, and let's just check them out, people. Let's just go, let's go see what we got. All right, he's an Imaginext, and he does this, people. Are you impressed now? I think you're impressed now. Oh, look, he's still going. He's upset about something. What I like about it is how, I don't know if the mic was picking it up, but the sound of the gears moving is louder than the sound effects of him roaring. I think that's great. So let's just get caught up for a second here on, where do I want to go? Here we go. Let's get caught up on this whole Diamond Select Diamond Comics bankruptcy, so that everybody knows what we're talking about. This is going to be something we're going to want to follow closely. So if you've missed my other videos, they're still up. They still have great information in them. This is going to kind of supersede all of those to a degree. I'm hoping that the info I convey here will be useful to people. There are, in fact, technically 4 separate bankruptcies. These are 4 separate companies: Diamond Comic Distributors, Comic Exporters, Comic Holdings, Diamond Select Toys, and Collectibles. However, if you look here, you can see the case numbers. The one on top is the primary case. Now, I do not know specifically why these are all bundled into 4 separate cases, but are all headed under one case. But I think I know why. I think I know, because each one of these companies is a separate company and has its own separate company that owns it. I believe that those separate companies that own them are in fact all owned by Stephen Jeppy, the guy who started Diamond, and they may also have some other people involved in the mix, like he might have a son who's a co-owner, or a wife, or an uncle, or there might be some sort of rich private investor who owns part of these. But for the most part, because these are all Stephen Jeppy properties, that these are all under his umbrella. And in fact, these other 3 companies under the Diamond Comics distributors, they could in fact also just be owned by companies that are in fact owned by Diamond Comics, but we can't see that in the filing. That is not in any of the paperwork. But I just want you guys to know that these are 4 separate bankruptcies, but they're being handled as a bundle. And I want to just point you guys to the actual filing. And I know there's a lot of channels covering this, but have you seen any channels actually bring up court papers? Here is the official Form 201 for Diamond Select Toys and Collectibles. And in this, we actually get to see that they have put their estimate assets at between $1 million and $10 million, which we don't know how much that is because it's just a box you check. And we put their estimated debt at between $10 million and $50 million. Again, we don't know how much it is. It's just a box you check. Now, the simplest prediction at this point would be to say, if the maximum amount of assets they have is 10 million and the lowest amount of liability they have is 10 million, they're probably not going to come out of this bankruptcy. They're probably going to have to sell everything just to pay the debts and they're going to be done, and that there is no company going forward. So that is the first prediction. However, there are some things that have come to light here. Let's get some dates going just so that we know what's going on. Everything here in this bankruptcy has to be cleared up by April 1st. That is the official end of everything, where the judge says, bring all your stuff in, get all the debts paid, it's all done, we're going to do the ruling. March 25th is the day of the auction. Now, I do not know if that is the day in which all the bids have to be in and bidding is closed, or if that is when the official bidding opens. I do not know, because some new information has come up. There is one bid out there in the wild. One of Diamond Comic Distributors' properties is a division called Gaming Alliance. Gaming Alliance is a distribution company that distributes games in North America. Now, they have a bid out for them by a competitor, Universal Gaming, a Canadian company, and the bid is for $39 million. So if, let's say, Diamond owes $50 million and they sell off their distributing company for games for $39 million, well, that really sort of shortens the gap, doesn't it? And they don't have to come up with quite as much money to come out of this bankruptcy. So at this point, I'm saying that there is a pretty good, better than average chance that Diamond Select Toys might come out completely unscathed out of this, and that they essentially are able to operate as if nothing has happened. And that's in quotation marks, because I don't know all the little details of what's going on. I don't know if right now there's layoffs going on, if they're closing the doors, if they're like getting rid of office equipment. I have no boots on the ground here, no reporting like that. I'm just looking at the court filings. I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm just looking at the dates. I'm just looking at the things that we're allowed to see in the news. I have no insider knowledge, okay? So let's get back to Diamond Select, and there is another way to monitor this case. The previous page I was looking at is on a site called Omni Agent Solutions. There's another site called PacerMonitor.com that is monitoring the filings. The last filing was back in January with Diamond Select Toys. It was a filing on behalf of NECA. Apparently, Diamond Select Toys owes NECA some money, so one of the representatives from NECA has come forward and says, hey, I represent NECA, where's our money? They're getting their ducks in a row. So this could mean that we may still see somebody buy Diamond Select Toys, the whole thing, or the people who own Diamond Select Toys may decide to break it apart. You can do that in a bankruptcy. They may decide to sell off Mini-Mates. They may decide to sell off Marvel Select. They may decide to sell off Gentle Giant or any other little sub-brands they have. Or somebody could buy the whole thing and they could decide to sell off those pieces. Usually what happens, you take what you want and you get rid of the trash that you don't want. You either close it down completely or you sell it. Now, I said that there's two paths going forward with the sale of Diamond Select Toys. The first path is a competitor buys it, and a competitor buys it to do what? They take the few things they want, because there might be some goodies in there. There might be something that they need, but they buy it to close it down, get rid of them. Or somebody who is not a competitor buys it. Why? Because they want to get into the industry. They've got something that they could use with this distribution of toys, or a manufacturer of toys, or a designer of toys, or maybe there's just a brand that they have that they think that would go well in their portfolio. Remember, a lot of purchases are done for the sake of portfolios. A lot of purchases are done to take a bunch of IPs, bundle them together, make something worth more as a bundle than separate, and then sell that. We've seen it over and over again. It actually happened with Filmation, purchased by a French company, L'Oreal. Why? They bundled it with a bunch of other studios and other libraries they bought. Why? They wanted to distribute it on a TV network that L'Oreal owned. And then what did they do? Once they bundled it together in a big, huge library, sold it off. So you could see something like that happen with Diamond Select Toys. Now, one of the things that people keep saying is that there's a possibility that McFarlane is going to put in a bid. Now, it should be noted that in the list of creditors, the list of 30 creditors, right, that I believe is actually, it's in one of these lists here. There was one where I saw all 30, man, I have it somewhere. There's all 30 creditors. It's on one of my tweets, in fact. Let me go back. And the top 15 is on one of my tweets from January 27th. It includes Penguin Random House, Bandai, NECA, Kinkin, TMP, Disney, Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, Exceeding, Little Buddy, etc. Okay, so McFarlane is not on that list, right? They are not on that list. They are not owed any money in the top 30 competitors. So that may influence whether or not they buy it or if someone else buys it because, like I said, Funko's on that list. If Funko's owed money, it might be a perfect way for them to use up that money that's owed to them that they may not get and to try and get something back by buying out the company. And in fact, I'm actually putting Funko at the top of the list to buy them because they are a competitor. Biggest competitor, in my opinion, to Funko Pops is Mini-Mates, and I could see them buying it to fold it into their arm of Funko Pops. Mini-Mates by Funko. I think that's something that's a pretty good, accurate, plausible, realistic prediction in the future. Would McFarlane gain anything by buying this company? I do not think they would. Now, some people are saying, well, they want the Marvel license. Well, let me go back to something I posted all the way back in January of 25. I said, also lots of folks, let me read this, lots of folks talking about the Marvel 7-inch license, etc. That 100% means absolutely nothing. Licenses are often not transferable, and anyone can get a license whenever they want. Most companies choose not to. Please stop talking about it. Here's what that means. Licenses are not magical items, people. Licenses are not something that you find out in wilderness. They're not like a waterfall or a forest. A license is just an agreement between two parties, and they can agree upon anything they want. Anything could be in those agreements. Including whether or not they're even transferable. There may even not be a way to get this license. But here's the thing. Licenses still can be amended. Licenses can be annulled. Parties can both agree to walk away from the license. Also, people can break from the license, and it's up to the other person in the license to try and enforce it legally, through the legal system, through lawyers, through court cases, which means money and a big, huge time and appeals courts. And even then, they can decide to not enforce it, and you have to go to court again. So the license doesn't mean as much as you think. Also, anyone can get a license anytime. McFarlane can go to Marvel and get a license if they want. Now, what if there's an exclusive deal between Marvel Select, Diamond Select Toys' subsidiary, and Marvel? Well, let's say they do then all of a sudden kick out a license to McFarlane. Well, that creates a conflict between who? Not McFarlane, between those two other parties. So that becomes its own issue, its own video, right? But it has nothing to do with McFarlane. If they want a license, they can get it anytime they want, and Marvel can do whatever they want, whenever they want, because licenses are not magical things like you think. They're just agreements, and they require lawyers to back them up, and if you do not have the lawyers to back them up, you can do whatever you want, and you can annul them. Okay, so let's move on to the last bit of news, we're calling it. We're calling it news. Now, some of you who follow the channel know this. If you don't follow the channel, maybe you should be subscribing. Why? Because in August 26th, I posted a video, prediction, toy industry crash. Okay, did I predict that someone would go bankrupt? Yes, I did. That's a point for me. Did I predict it would be Diamond Select Toys? No, I did not. I did not. They were not on my bingo card. And so, as a result, I am taking the loss on this, right? I may be the only channel that that is out here willing to say that I was wrong when it comes to this, and you're not going to hear it from any of these clownfish or quartering channels when they do their type of videos where they talk about things where they say, oh, we got it wrong, our commentary. But I did predict this also. This was posted October 18th. Endless rumors, Disney and Hasbro pulling the plug, ? Hasbro going digital fully. You may have noticed a bunch of channels, The Quartering, Clownfish, some YouTube toy channels, right? Even Uncle Tim talking about how Hasbro's not going to be making toys. I covered this back in October 18th, and in fact, it's really a follow-up in which I covered this February 28th of 2024 in the video Hasbro Bankrupt, Is It Possible? I talked about them getting out of the consumer products area, licensing the IPs and no longer making the product, right? I talked about this before. And so, what is my prediction going forward now that everyone's on board with this idea of what's going to happen to Marvel Legends, what's going to happen to Black Series, what's going to happen to Vintage Collection? Well, it's this. Vanguard owns 11% of Hasbro, and 10% is owned by Capital Research, and 9.5% is owned by BlackRock. Walt Disney, Vanguard owns 8.5%, BlackRock owns 5.2%, State Street owns 4.2%. What I'm telling you, these companies, Hasbro and Disney, they're the same companies. And if you don't know, deals are not made in the toy aisle. Deals are made on the golf course. Deals are made in the boardroom, right? If you go to someone on the boardroom and you say, hey, what about this, the scale, the deco, the articulation, they do not know what you're talking about. It's going to sound like Swahili or German to them. They're going to say, was ist denn los? Wie geht's? They don't know anything about that. All they know is moving money around on the board, okay? So what I'm telling you guys is this. Hasbro is going to become the official licensing agent on behalf of Marvel and Lucasfilm for Black Series, Marvel Legends, Vintage Collection. They will decide who gets to make the toys. They will get the money passed through them. They'll pass it to Marvel, Lucasfilm, Disney. So, with that, thanks to everybody who listened to these predictions, these rants, the news update, the update on Diamond Select Toys and where we're going in the future, and my predictions on who's going to buy them. I'm putting money on Funko. If I'm wrong, roast me in the comments. But whatever you do, stay charged, people. Stay charged.